gets bigger and bigger. Can't tell you how many times I've said that.
Oh man, I'd love to say that.
That's an entrance line right there. That's an entrance line. Yeah.
The ball of the robotics.
Right. Hello, world.
My goodness.
It's Sybil. Hello, Myra J. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Young Kwyn, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, she sounds so cute and innocent. We know it's not the truth. Hello, Stephen Hill. How are you? Okay, enough. Okay, for those that can't see.
Yes, it's beautiful, sunshiny, and got the. It's just.
He's in Mexico.
Maybe, allegedly. Allegedly, depending on what law enforcement company you're with.
All right. Okay. All right. So, Steve, what takes you south of the Canadian border?
American Airlines, whenever possible. It's my happy place with my happy people, and part of having my 60th birthday this year is living the best and being able to work from anywhere. And I literally was working from the beginning of this morning till 5 minutes before I got on here. So carry the job with you. That's the one good thing about COVID. You can work and do stuff from almost anywhere.
Yeah, it's proven that, huh?
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
How you doing, Sybil?
I love it.
I'm challenged, but I'm good. Thank you. Yeah. Still feeling the effects of COVID, and not for me personally, but how it's affecting other people. And young Kwyn, you are in the midst of. Let's see. Next week. You have your debut of your next.
My first poetry album is next week.
Poetry album.
19th. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm having a little intimate thing in Chicago, just with my family. I bought a caterer. I got a caterer for the first time. She's really good. I'm really excited.
Oh, that's so adult.
All right. For real.
Look at her serving snacks. Go ahead.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Actually, it's a charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
Yes, charcuterie board. And she said she's gonna have some sweet potato Thai curry. And we're having blackened chicken tacos.
Okay.
And I'm gonna buy some bubbly. So.
And you're buying what?
Some bubbly, some champagne.
All right, some champagne. All right.
Okay, champagne.
How grown up is she, Myra?
I know we've come a long way from hot dogs and ice cream at our little parties.
Right. and in some cases we weren't even just getting the real hot dogs. We got pigs in blankets.
I know. Buying sausages.
Okay.
That's funny.
We go to Gino's and get a pizza and say, take what you can and eat, till it's all gone. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I don't want to offend your appetite. Myra, how are you? You look like you all prettied up, like you're going somewhere.
Maybe not.
Right. Ooh.
Okay.
Is that as far as
If it were yes, where would you be going?
Out the door.
Back into a car?
Grown women don't tell everything, but that would be affirmative. I might be going somewhere, but I'm not going anywhere today. But I got my hair did. I'm freshly colored and all that, and I just got gussy because when I get my hair did, I feel like the Amazon driver need to see this. So all this is for me today. Yes.
Nice.
Myra, I feel like you should be going out at least for a drink, a martini or something.
I just said the Amazon driver, he's waiting.
With the Amazon driver. I see. My Amazon driver is not the same. He just pitches stuff towards the door and says, hey, see you. And then he's gone.
Look, and he can hit my door with his stuff. That's the guy for me. Pitch it, hit it. Yep, come on in. You just passed the first test.
I think young Kwyn is becoming more speechless by the second with our conversation.
I think I have to give that one to Kwyn.
Well, very good. Very good. All right. So let's talk about what's going on in our world, shall we? And this is regarding the Ahmaud Arbery case, right? The ex-Georgia district attorney has been arrested following the obstruction of justice charges against Ahmaud Arbery. We understand that she was indicted Now she's been arrested. I don't know if you saw her picture from booking, but Jackie Johnson, indicted by the grand jury last week on one felony count of violating her oath of office and one misdemeanor count of interfering with a police investigation, is accused of using her position to delay the arrest of 3 white men who killed Arbery in February of 2020. She is the ex-Glynn County District Attorney. She turned herself into the sheriff's office there at the home county base Wednesday, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and she was released later. Not enough money, if you ask me, on $10,000 bond.
Right.
No, so she was the top prosecutor when Ahmaud Arbery was killed by the father and son duo of Greg and Travis McMichael, and they were joined by William Bryant, who recorded on the cell phone video. And so Ahmaud Arbery's family has long accused Johnson, who had employed the father, Greg McMichael, as an investigator, of trying to help the man avoid prosecution.
Yeah, to me, she was the main reason why it took so long for this particular case to come to light.
Right.
She was basically covering up for the good old boys.
Yeah. Exactly.
In that little town down there, yes.
In that little town down there. Kwyn, I imagine, like the rest of us, you've been following this case ever since it happened over a year and a half ago.
I have actually not been following the case after there was a beautiful article written by Miriam Kaba after the verdict for the Breonna Taylor case for Essence, when they said we can't expect justice from the same system that perpetuates injustice. And so that's when I just like all of the different names and cases, they really are just really triggering for me. And it's just like a lot. I'm way over my emotional budget when it comes to following these different verdicts and sentences and bonds and all that type of stuff. So when I hear it, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm not as surprised. I'm not as
So how do you steel yourself against that? Is it just not keeping up with it, or when you hear it, it is because I'm inundated daily, and something that I feel compelled to do in terms of finding the information and then disseminating it. So I'm just wondering, what's your how are you able to do that?
Well, I think like being involved in a grassroots organization, like we have campaigns that keeps us very local and very focused on like local things that are going on depending on our chapter. So everything that I've been keeping up with is really following, Lori Lightfoot releasing everything about this budget and still saying majority of it's going to CPD, or something in regards to CPS is going back to school, but only X amount of schools have actually caught COVID and everything else like that. So changing my lens from a national to much more hyper local lens is what helps me. And compartmentalizing. It's not healthy, but if I choose where my feelings can go, then at least like
I'm not able to do that. And even at my advanced age, it becomes more and more difficult for me to do that, to kind of disassociate and as you say, compartmentalize. Stephen Hill, what about you? Your thoughts on this case?
I'm always looking for the positive. You know this. I know that I've slowly gotten to this in my years. You can't change the past. All you can do is take the past and make it better. The fact that this person I would dare say 5 years ago, they would have been able to sweep this under the rug and this prosecutor would not have been brought up on charges. So I look to the positive that this is happening and that, and I'm going to get the quote wrong, but like the arc bends towards justice. It may be a long ass arc, but it bends towards justice. So I get thrills out of when another one of them goes down who has done us wrong, and $10,000 is way too little.
Yeah, $10,000.
Yeah. What is that 1,000 gonna mean? For her and her friends. So, as you all know, living in the state of Texas is not a good time right now.
Under his eye.
So blessed be the fruit.
Amen, sister. This has been a really tough week, and people are talking about 666 laws were passed, went into effect September 1st. And all very, very right wing, the majority very right wing loaded. Okay. So The two that people know about are the abortion law, which went into effect last week, and also this week was the Restrictive Voting Rights Act, or I shouldn't even call it rights, the repressive voting bill. So a lot of conversation about how do we fight this? Because the first thing I got were a lot of calls like, how long are you going to stay in the state? And I'm in for the fight. I got to tell you, I may be a glutton for punishment, but I am in for the fight. I think that we have to stay and fight, and because people died for us to have the right to fight. And so, and regardless of whatever is happening, so I'm willing to stay and to fight. Besides, I given all of the buttholes that are running this state, I still like it here. I can't say that, I'm not scared about the fact that you don't need a permit to own a gun. Yeah. If I were of that age where, abortions would not be legal after 6 weeks, and the fact that they are allowing us to vote for 2 minutes one day on election day. And that's hyperbole, obviously, but you get the point. But I want them also to feel the effects, you guys. And so I am behind this hashtag boycott Texas movement because it's talking about putting some financial heat on the state of Texas and the big old boys. Because I'm not calling them good, because there's no way they are good. But these racist, misogynistic old boys are laughing this off and saying, oh, this isn't going to mean anything to us. I mean, we just got Elon Musk just moved to town or moved to the state. We have American Airlines. We have this company. We have that company. But I think that if we, really, really push for our companies, the companies that we work for, if we had jobs, we would be putting heat on them to make some sort of statement and to make the power of their dollar felt. So what do you guys think about it? Do you think it's off or not? I think it worked. It may have worked in Georgia, Myra, with the voting bill there. And when Major League Baseball took the All-Star game out of Atlanta or Fulton County, I guess.
That was to me, that was just a pebble in a big old ocean. I don't know if that was enough to really make a difference. In Texas, I'm all for anything that's going to make change. However, it needs to be a huge organized movement. What gets very frustrating to me when somebody posts online or Facebook, so-and-so said so-and-so, let's boycott them. Well, you got 29 followers. Like,
okay, Myra, I'm not going to take this personally, but
What I'm saying is, let's organize so that it does make a difference. They have to feel the hurt. You can't come by and flick at them. You got to bring them down to their knees to make a difference.
Yeah. Do you think it'll make a difference, Steve?
So a couple things. I have not that I've been lazy, that I haven't changed my shake you down. First, by the way, that was first on 4 weeks ago when Homeboy had COVID. Right. That's the first time I had shake you down, but we never got to that story. And it was now perfect because Gregory Abbott, the governor of Texas,
no relation.
Feels like a shakedown to me. Here's the sad truth. The sad truth is that people do what they think what they have to do to get reelected. The people in Texas believe that by voting this way, they are going to get reelected. Ergo, ipso, therefore, the people in Texas want this law. Now, it doesn't work for anybody I don't think it works for any of the four of us. I think we can agree on that, right? It doesn't. Your own body, and all of that. But Texas is a different animal. It always has been. It always has been a different animal. And I don't think anybody's surprised that this is the first state where elected officials feel that they are not in danger at all.
Yeah.
And ain't at all. by putting it through and protecting it.
Yep.
So I think the only thing you can do, to your point, is do economic pressure. That's the only thing, but I'm not sure that's going to work on a state as big as Texas.
Well, a state as big as Texas and as just economically influential when you think about major airlines being based here. And so Kwyn, I'm not sure if you're canceling your reservation on American or Southwest is going to make that big of a difference, but do you see some value in the boycott?
I do see value in any type of organizing or protest or resisting of the state. Just to like Myra's comment, like a pebble starts ripples. And so I believe even a person with 29 followers, if they chose to do something that will lead to another cause and effect of somebody else, or inspiring or somebody to do something in addition to what they've already created, I do feel as if outside of economic resisting, there is some type of physical, like direct action that could be done within Texas. I know at least like there's been conversations with a few organizations to do some type of nationwide protests in response to the abortion bill that was recently passed in Texas. So there's things moving around. People are very upset. People are very, very scared. And I just keep thinking a lot of, and abortions don't just only affect women. They affect people, who use they, them pronouns. They affect men. They affect children. They affect everybody. And so these different type of laws, including this voting restriction law, is something that I wish people would actually pay attention to and realize that we still do have the power, as much as it seems as if it keeps being taken away from us. But we don't have to actually go along with what the government says we can do. We can do more.
Well, let me just say this, because this story came out that the Portland City Council is set to vote today on a proposal to ban trading goods and services with Texas and to prohibit state employee business travel to the state over the new law that prohibits abortion after the fetal heartbeat can be detected. So the mayor announced the vote last week and claimed that Texas's new law, which allows any individuals to sue the people knowingly assisting in the prohibited abortion, does not demonstrate concern for the health, safety, and well-being of those who may become pregnant. So that's a step. That's a big pebble. The city of Portland, and I do agree that I think every vote, every person counts. And like I was, going on and on with Damon the other day, I'm just going to become that broken record. And I know it's dated. I don't know what the new tech equivalent would be, Kwyn, but a record is that big round thing.
I know what a record is. Jesus Christ. I have had Black parents, man. Come on now. Y'all gotta give me some more credit, okay?
Just having a little fun with you. But I'm going to become even more persistent and more obnoxious in terms of registering the people to vote, educating them why their vote counts, and getting them to the polls. I think that we have to do that. And Greg Abbott is up for re-election next year.
Shake him down. Shake him down.
Thank you. And other people like the ridiculous Attorney General Ken Paxton. He is being challenged and by the wonderful Black attorney Lee Merritt, civil rights attorney. He's running for the Democratic nomination for that. And so I'm working for people like that and also getting people out to vote, I think is going to make a big difference, or at least that is my hope. One other thing I did want to talk about is the craziness that's going on in California. I know craziness in California, they don't go together.
Who knew?
But first of all, Caitlyn Jenner says that she's pro-choice but supports Texas's new abortion law. Caitlyn Jenner is running one of the 102 Republicans running in the recall/vote Gavin Newsom out election that's taking place next week. She doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell, Caitlyn, but she says she's all for a woman's right to choose, but she supports the new Texas law for abortion.
Don't even get me started with little Miss Caitlyn. But I'm just happy to say she's at 1%. So, girl, bye. Okay, that's all I can say. But I read one of the funniest lines today regarding California. It said, in this case, it said, disrespect your elders. and vote no.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, so let's take a deeper dive here. Let's find out what's really going on. And it's not a deep question, but it is, I think, one of fun and great interest. We always talk music with Myra and Steve. And Kwyn, you are educating us on some of the newer artists too. So I just want you all to think of this. And I saw this on social media. You can only buy one ticket. Who is the artist? The list that I saw features 9 deceased artists. 1 is Bob Marley.
Right.
2 was Prince. 3 was David Bowie. 4 was Biggie. 5 was Michael Jackson. 6 was Jimi Hendrix. 7 was Tupac. 8 was Freddie Mercury. And number 9 was Whitney. So I think for Myra and Steve, I think we know. Because Steve already said. But I also want you to think in terms of, and I want people to please chime in on this. And so let's start with you, Kwyn. Do you have any of these that you would buy? One ticket, just one, to any one of these 9 artists?
I really love Freddie Mercury.
I'm really surprised, and I was a Freddie Mercury fan too.
No, I just rock with what his message was in his culture.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have to be a tie between Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess honestly, right now, if I had one, it would just be Whitney because I do miss her. I would
do
love
too.
to see her voice like live. So
yeah, I miss her so much. I would even be willing to go to one of those hologram shows, and I know that's
oh wow.
Yes.
I know that's awful and horrific.
Yes.
But maybe if I were given a ticket, I don't know if I would pay to see it, but I would. That's how much I miss her.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I really do. I really do. So
Christina Petrus has the answer that wasn't among those 9. And
okay.
And I tell you, the funny thing is, if I have one ticket, I'm going to see Prince. If I have 2 tickets, I'm going to who Christina says. That's who I'm going to see with 2 tickets. Not with 1 ticket. That's just frustrating.
Yeah. Christina on YouTube says Luther Vandross. He wasn't on the list, and he really should have been. Myra, I think one of the things that I enjoyed on the cruise recently were some of those, do we call them impersonators? Do we call them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fake Luther.
He was good.
Fake Luther is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you think you go in there like, I'm ready to hate. Okay, who's gonna try to do Luther? I'm ready to hate.
Go in like this.
I was really like, yeah, whatever. Yo.
Oh,
next thing you know, yes.
You actually threw me off. I thought you all were talking about the guy who did Prince.
Yep, that was another.
There's a guy, and I feel bad I can't remember his name. The band was called Purple Rain, REIGN, based out of Las Vegas. And what happened was the Late Show had just ended. J. Anthony Brown said, "Don't leave. We have a surprise for you." Mm-hmm. And they opened the curtain. I kid you not. This guy looks like Prince. The entire band is amazing. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if it was the alcohol or the late night, but when I tell you those fantastic voices,
blame it on the
they lost their minds. And at the end of the show, the guy, thanks everybody, we're in Vegas, come out and see us. Why the next day did we hear people going, he had to say that because Tom really didn't announce that Prince was on the show. They were walking around the ship thinking that was really Prince. And I'm like, no, that wasn't Prince. Sure it wasn't, Myra. I was there. It was him.
I can't believe y'all choose Prince over Michael Jackson. That's crazy.
You know what? I'm not going to argue with you because I'm a big MJ fan. But my number 2, if we had 2 tickets, would be Bob Marley, actually, because of the message, the message in the music, and it just feels like what's needed, and for my spiritual uplifting. Absolutely, Bob Marley.
Okay, so let's move it to the current, because we are still, for most part, many of us are still quarantined and not going out and doing these events, and a lot of people aren't able to travel. Let's talk about some of the current people that we would like to see or that we want to lift up, and that's going to be the first ticket that we buy after this is all over.
Oh, it's not over yet.
No.
Oh,
No.
I'm so sorry. I went to concerts early. My bad.
I would say for 3 out of 4 of us, it's not over yet.
Is that for me or for Steve?
No, that's for him.
Bruno Mars.
Bruno, yeah.
Bruno, absolutely. Bruno Mars. Yes.
I gotta
yes.
see Beyonce, man. I gotta go see her. I didn't go see her any other time, so I have to go see her.
Oh, you've not seen her in person. Oh, yeah.
Oh, y'all seen her? Dang.
Yeah. Let me just say this to you, Kwyn. Working with Tom Joyner has had incredible advantages.
I want to see Solange too. Who is D Nice?
Oh, DJ Nice.
Did you just say who is D Nice?
Nice?
Did you just say that, Kwyn?
The saver, the person who saved COVID, the person who she
took herself out.
She's Googling who is D Nice.
That's
funny.
So you know who D Nice is, the DJ.
Yes.
Look at her read it. Read it. Read them words, baby girl. Read it.
The hat, Instagram Live, Club Quarantine.
Yes.
Hollywood Bowl last week.
Hollywood Bowl.
Yes.
Down in Atlanta this past week at the outdoor place.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So check him out. I think you might find him interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He has quite a following, including the forever First Lady Michelle Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I agree with you, Steve. If there were an award for someone who saved us during the pandemic, he would get it.
Absolutely.
I would get it.
United people, pulled them together, kept them together for over a year.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal thing.
I hung for like 12 hours straight when they through the night, 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. If he was gonna play, I was like, I don't care if you have one person, I'm gonna be right there with you. And I was up partying.
I was like that with Stephen Hill's Thursday night events, Sunglasses and Soul.
You're very kind.
Because it was, but those kind of events. I mean, Steve had a group of, you call each other loopers. And so that was a real bonding time for a lot of people.
And I hear from them all the time. They still, like, people who didn't know each other, who met through my little small Instagram Live every Thursday night, like, stay together and really help each other. And they've suffered some deaths and some real challenging experiences, and they really rally around to support each other. And D Nice did that same thing on a much larger scale when we really needed it, when we didn't know that we needed it. So, I mean, no human emotion that had been on this planet before had been through what was going on for COVID. And so he found some way to make us all feel better. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Kwyn, what about some of your new school artists and friends, I dare say, that you would encourage people to buy tickets to, besides you and the spoken word?
That's free. A new artist. I really like Erin Allen Kane. I brought her up last week.
You mentioned her last week, yeah.
Because I love her. I love her. I love Nao, Nao. She is a UK artist. She recently had a baby, but she's coming out with another album. Who else has been on my radar? I'm excited to see Chloe Halley's new song. Yeah. She's up and coming. And I think she's bad as hell.
So let's ask.
Nas.
Oh, Lil Nas.
Baby.
Yeah.
I just want to see Myra's face. She clearly stopped blinking.
Okay. Actually, no. Last week, I watched something very interesting because I believe I text you, Sybil, on the country music channel.
Yes.
They Nelly had a special called Cross Country where he hooked up with country artists. Two of them were black, one white band, but it was like hip hop rap meets country, and it was kind of funky. I was like, I get it, y'all. And to me, I actually thought it was a real genius move, because for people who may not have been aware of Nelly, you found a whole new audience. It was good. It was really good.
The funny thing about that is that what people understand is that Nelly has had a country career, and Black people are just now finding out about the country career. Like he's had hits with Florida Georgia Line. I forget who the other ones are, but like legit country hits. Nelly, you could argue that Nelly is the reason that like Kane Brown and a lot of these new country artists approach the music the way that they do, with that sing song. You know, the joke is always like, Nelly's never rap. He just sings in tune, and it sounds like a rap, right? Right. But that really changed the way the country was, and so I didn't know about the special. I can't wait to see it. But like Nelly is like a legit goes out on country tours.
Yeah,
that's what I found out, because they did this big. Kane Brown was on there, and I looked in the audience and I was like, look at the audience. It was all white people, and they were like, I get it, y'all. But if you get a chance to watch it and you're like, I don't like country, it will really open your eyes to a whole new thing. I really enjoyed it. I did.
You said it was on CMT?
Yeah, CMT.
Okay.
And it's called Cross Country, I believe.
Okay.
Thanks, Donna. That's the one I was trying to think of. Tim McGraw. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Donna. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Faith and Tim fan. And although I never like to say the name, I am a Lady Antebellum fan too. I know I can't say that name anymore, but whatever. So
you blame that on Yolanda. You blame that on Yolanda, Sybil. That wasn't me. I didn't signal. I didn't mime.
And you know what, Dr. K, we get this question, I think, from you a lot. So thank you for that about the podcast. I think that Stephen Hill, you as our music aficionado, professionally and personally, are there any people that you like I was asking Kwyn, any young voices or new voices that you've heard?
Lucky Day. As a writer, as a performer, it's D-A-Y with an E at the end of it, Kwyn, because I see you looking it up.
I know who he is. I'm just
Lucky Day, and a voice that I've heard as a feature, Mahalia is her name. Mahalia has, I think, a really great soulful voice, and Yebby as well. So there are a few.
Yebba.
Sorry, Yebba Duba.
Yebba.
I think there's some great voices out there. I'm looking for a change in the music, though. The music is not as exciting as I would want the music itself to be, but the voices behind it are back to being like, back to having skill, and not skill in the voice, but at least some quality and some personality in voices. I'm looking forward to that.
I have a question.
Yep. Yes, Kwyn, in the front row.
Can you guys confirm if R. Kelly is on the Drake album, just so I know if I should go protest or not?
No, there's a sample. They used a sample from Half on a Baby, I think. So it's like a very sample.
Getting money from the album?
I don't know anything about his publishing, so I couldn't tell you that answer.
And he would know.
Yeah.
You asked the right person.
No, I wouldn't know. I don't know.
No. But I mean,
yeah.
You would have the answer though. So I'm just really curious. I'm very excited about just the thought of, getting out and going to although I'm not that excited, you guys, about going into these big stadia. I watched football last week, college football, and there was the discussion about the 80,000 people in one football stadium. I'm not digging that. I'm really looking forward to going to something a little bit more intimate. What does that say?
Snow Allegra.
Snow Allegra.
She's cool, but she can't really sing.
Thank you.
Be hyping up this aesthetic, man.
Oh my God! To me as well. I'm like, Snow Allegra. I'm like. Next.
Snow Allegra, LMI, all the same people.
Yolanda, would you like to join us regarding Snow Allegra? Okay, all right. Yes, Myra.
I'm actually going to an outdoor thing here in Atlanta. My first big local thing. It's an outdoor old school concert, And I was just laughing today because I was going, am I going to be the only one out there in my face shield and my mask? So what if I am?
Okay.
But I would just feel better, doing
Yeah,
it that way.
I'm not mad at you. I think
Yeah.
that was the thing that really disturbed me in watching the Hollywood Bowl concert with D Nice and all of that. I just thought that was all right, young Kwyn. Now it's time for us to go to what you need to know, the newsletter, and this is of course our daily Monday through Friday newsletter. It will be in your email box if you choose to subscribe for the free subscription to the What You Need to Know newsletter. Go to SybilWilkes.com, and we would love to have you be a part of this. Young Kwyn is a part of this. She's one of our social justice activists. And in today's newsletter, you talk about the Black labor leaders you need to know.
Yeah, so we did just celebrate Labor Day, which is always going to land on a Monday. But what I feel is that a lot of people don't know is how many Black labor organizers were behind the scenes in terms of winning us this day off. So you have Philip Randolph, who is considered the father of the Black labor movement. He organized the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters back in 1925, and he also chaired the March on Washington for Freedom and Jobs with Bayard Rustin in 1963. You have a few Black women, Lucy Parsons, who is a revolutionary labor organizer with the Industrial Workers of the World, journalist and radical socialist. In the 1920s, the Chicago Police Department called her more dangerous than 1,000 rioters. You have Linda Dent, who is a leading voice in the contemporary labor movement currently. She's the first Black woman president of the Los Angeles, the largest union, SEIU 721, and was also a lead fighter for $15 an hour. So currently, like when we think about Labor Days and we think about all these different holidays, when we think about even just labor unions, there's a lot of not only our ancestral history, but a lot of people that look like us that are also fighting on the lines for employees to get the fair amount of wage, for people to actually get the right amount of benefits, for people to get what they deserve. And Black history is history. So I listed a few more people, but please sign up for the newsletter, y'all, so I can get this type of information. I thought it was really cool to learn how many people have been fighting for us and stuff.
So let me just add one, because I did a story on Monday about Black labor leaders as well, and those who formed the unions.
Yes.
And A. Philip Randolph, as you mentioned, and even before he did the sleeping, the porters that were normally, it was normally with the Pullman trains and what have you. There were also Black women who served as maids who were a part of that union. But before that, he also unionized elevator operators. And long ago, Kwyn, before you got on an elevator and just pushed the button your own damn self, there were people that did that. That was their job.
Yeah.
To take us up and down in the elevators. And so he was a part of that in organizing them. And one woman that we don't give a lot of attention to, her name is Dorothy Bolden. And she organized domestic workers and created that union in the 1960s. And she started organizing by after the bus boycotts. She was in Atlanta, and one of her neighbors was Dr. King. And so she was telling him about a lot of the injustices as a day worker, as a maid, telling them about the injustices that she and her friends were experiencing. And he said, well, you do it. And so she did. And she got on these buses all around Georgia. And at one point, created this union of 10,000 women strong. And so it's just a really amazing and inspiring story. So I recommend that you read Kwyn's story and find out, especially about the young people that are working now, and also do some history about those that came about, on whose shoulders a lot of these labor leaders now stand. But God bless Dorothy Bolden. I mean, she got them, got their wages increased. They were able to get Social Security, and she taught them, because she could not represent them with a said organization. She taught them how each of these women to go to their employers and to make these declarations.
That's leadership.
Truly. And just a really cool sister. So Dorothy Bolden is another one of those. And we don't talk enough about Bayard Rustin too. I'm glad you brought him up.
No, we don't. But that's for a reason.
Well, he was just he's one of those voices, one of those strong characters, and I don't mean characters like in a bad way, but one of those strong people in our history that stood behind the men more so than not, and was really the voice that propelled and pushed Martin Luther King and others forward in order to do the things that they did. So God bless him.
But to be clear, he only stood behind because if they'd put him out front, the movement would have had a much more difficult. Like he wasn't standing beside because that's where he should have been out front. In another era, in another. Mayor Rustin would have been completely out front.
If it was today, yeah.
And so talk about that, Kwyn.
Oh, how people are homophobic, or
I mean, because that's the real.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the civil rights movements. I mean, a lot of the movements in general. Even when we think about how Marsha P. Johnson, how there was a Black trans woman who pretty much we should owe credit and thanks to in terms of the Stonewall riots and why we're celebrating Pride today. Black queer people have always been erased, related to homophobia, related to transphobia. And it's actually really disheartening. Like,
Kwyn, let me ask you to take it.
Thank you. Sorry.
I don't want to say it sounded like you were going in the closet, but I'm just saying it was just a little
I was literally thinking about R. Kelly's music videos in the closet not that long ago. I really can't. I was like, wow, that was a saga this time before I found out he was a rapist. But so if Bayard Rustin was actually alive today, I do not think that he actually would get the respect and credit that he deserves, because a lot of activists that are publicly fighting for LGBTQ plus rights are not either taken as seriously, or they continue to be silenced and just literally misgendered, mispronounced, and even just like discredited. And so it is like very important for, as like, people that are passionate about social justice and just like Black people and Black power in general, we really need to acknowledge not only people's sexuality, people's gender preferences, but also the fact that these are people that have always existed, from Fannie Lou Hamer, from Marsha P. Johnson, and it's time for history to accurately be remembered and to be revered. So that's what I was saying.
I was thinking
like
about
an ASMR thing. Hello, can you hear me?
We're good. I was thinking about this the other day because Coy did a story and talking with a young man who was discriminated against by his pilot instructor or instructor pilot, however you put those. And so he told his story on Instagram, and Coy contacted him, and he was on with us, and it was. The thing that struck me is that we don't talk enough about our history, because Coy and this young man, King Davis, said neither one of them have ever seen a Black pilot. And I was like, well, we've got to do something about this, because they're probably not alone. And so not only do we have to introduce our children to people like this, like the pilots or people who own planes. Hello, Tom Joyner. But let's also continue to go back into our history, right? And talk about those people. Talk about the Bob Johnsons that, put together a network like BET. And not, I dare say, Steve, that a lot of young people may not know today about Bob Johnson and his role in creating a whole genre of television.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly.
So, just something I might be calling Mr.
It's all about exposure. There are so many times when I would go into the schools to speak to young people, and many of them, they want to be actors, or they want to be rappers, or something. And that's all well and good, but I would say so many times the power is behind the camera. Right. The decision making is behind the camera. You need to be talking about ownership. If you want to be a booty shaker on a video, that's all well and good, but why not own the station that plays the video?
That's what I'm talking about.
Put that in your mind, that's attainable, but they have to know that it's available to them if they work for it.
And you could be the booty shaker and the station owner. I'm just saying.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. We appreciate sex workers and strippers over here. Y'all do it well. Keep it going.
Let's talk about coronavirus just for a second, because this is something that we've heard about and it's continuing. In the update, a vaccine hesitancy amongst first responders still causing a lot of concern. Those on the front lines of the pandemic are among the most resistant to COVID vaccine mandates, despite being the group of Americans who are dying in higher numbers, facing greater exposure to the virus, and they are reluctant to get the virus or to follow through on the mandate. And in some cases, people have said, I'd rather quit than have to get the vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Oh, I can't tell you why. There's somebody who works with a family member of mine in mental health services who had to resign because she would not take the vaccine. She is in health. She's a mental health provider and is leaving because she refused to take the vaccine. It's stunning. I wish what's the category? Is there a category of people? What's the thing that most people who are not taking the vaccine? Because history is going to show in 25 years of generation so that there's fewer of whatever that is, right? Whoever's not taking the vaccine just by freaking science, like in 25 years, there's going to be less of that group of people because they will have not taken it. I have a friend who died last night who was a friend who was one I worked with for years. Jerry Blair was his name. He's promotion at Columbia Records. He ran Mariah Carey's company for a while, and just like, I'm not taking the vaccine, and now his life is gone. Like, this real. Like, I'm stunned. I'm just stunned by people who either don't either get the vaccine or go and make sure that their antibodies that they had from when they had it up are up and on point. If you don't want to take the vaccine and you had COVID and you have antibodies, I kind of get it because the vaccine's doing the same thing. But like, you're not doing one of those two. You're just waiting for death, player.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and she's had COVID twice, and she won't get the vaccine.
What?
I don't understand it. And I told her I disagree with her stance, but I mean, she's obviously, her mother is, gotten on her, and folks are just trying to get her to do it, and she said, no, I'm good. I don't understand. That's
And these are first line responders, so they see the worst of it. That's why I'm just really confused. Like,
they're right there. They're front liners, right, Kwyn?
That doesn't make sense. Unless they know something that we don't. That's also kind of scaring me because I'm like, wait a second, did I do something wrong or like what?
Well, go ahead.
I have family members in the profession, nurses. 2 of them have worked in the ICU unit. Both of them have gotten the vaccine. Another one is a nurse, and I'm not getting it. But there's never a rationale why, and they always know somebody who knows somebody. That's always the excuse that I hear.
And the latest thing for me is I don't understand these, and okay, I won't call them idiots, but I don't understand people that will take an animal medicine to deworm the animals, but they will rather do that than take the vaccine. I just don't understand.
Now, Travis Roughhouse Party Bus Ruffin says the vaccine don't prevent the virus. Now, while that's true, what it does do, because as with anything, when you build up your antibodies in your system, it does protect you against, but like you're less likely to get the more severe effects. I think,
and especially now with the Delta variant.
Right. Yes, everything's chosen that you have a even if you get the vaccine, even if you still get COVID, your likelihood of being massively sick is lessened. Now, everyone will point to like, yeah, but I heard about dude who had the vaccine and he died in 2 days. Yes, that's true too. But if you play the numbers and you play the odds, and I know a lot of you out there do, then you should know that like taking the vaccine is always going to make you less likely to die from coronavirus. It's just that simple.
I was talking to a younger family member who was like, I'm not taking it because you can still get it. I said, think about it. When you go outside and it's raining, you can put up an umbrella. That's not going to say you aren't going to get wet, but you probably won't get as wet if you put up an umbrella. It's that freaking simple.
Yeah.
It's that darn simple to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why people just don't want the layer of protection, especially when this thing is really so just everywhere and it's not going away. And it's actually getting worse. And so I just don't understand, like, as frontline workers that we're vowing to protect, that we're seeing on these commercials, just like, hey, do it for us.
Right.
We see it, we see the cases, we see the numbers. And for people to just be so anti-vax, this vaccine is just, it's wild.
It's crazy.
And I'm not going to argue with scientists about science.
No, yeah. Well, anytime people bring up anything, somebody said, like, we gotta bring up the Tuskegee experiment. I'm like, man, please, God bless you. Please get the vaccine.
And with the Tuskegee experiment, it was what they weren't given that killed them.
I don't get paid enough to talk to these people. I just
okay.
That's on your pay range. That's on your pay range.
That's over my emotional budget. God bless you. Get the vaccine. God bless you.
That's above your emotional. So now it's time for entertainment. And Stephen Hill, I am glad to see you and to hear you because I wanted to talk about your friend Anita Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Anita Baker reclaiming her masters. Mm-hmm. So tell people what that means who don't know what it means about owning your master.
So in the old school, when you signed with the record company, what they would do is pay you a goo gobs of money in advance. And in return, they would own the master recordings, which means that once you record the song, it's theirs. Think of it like a piece of work of art. Like, oh, I like that piece of work of art by Salvador Dali. I'm going to buy it, right? So the record companies owned the masters, own the record recordings. And so if you want to put it out in a movie, record company gets paid. If you want to put it on a greatest hits album, record company gets paid. I mean, the artist still gets a portion of it, but the ownership and the determination of where it goes, for the large part, is with the record company. More recently, artists have been smart about their art and will take a little less money up front to own their recordings in the back end. And so they license them to the record companies.
Right.
So Anita has announced that she got them back. I haven't seen the details except for her tweet. I haven't seen any in any of the business journals, but she's announced that after a long, protracted fight, that she got her masters back to her song. She had asked her fans to stop streaming them because anytime they streamed, the money went to the record company. She was doing protests for that. So I don't know the details of it, but she has claimed through Twitter that she has gotten her masters back.
So as you said, she tweeted, "All my children are coming home. The songstress, Rapture, giving you the best that I got, compositions and rhythm of love," showing the photos of her first 5 albums all there. And so Taylor Swift saw it and gave her a shout out and said, "What a beautiful moment. Congratulations, Anita." And of course, Taylor Swift fans know about her attempts to get her music back and what she has gone through with that. Stephen Hill, do you have anything you can add to what Taylor Swift has been going through?
Sometimes the price is high. Like Taylor, here's the thing. It's not that record companies are bad, because record companies take a gamble, right? They will throw, call it $500,000 against your project, and they may make nothing back. And they eat that loss. They don't go to the artist and say like, "Oh, you got to pay us more," right? And so just the way it works, there's so many artists that don't break, but then when that one breaks, it funds all of the losses, right? And people used to say all the time, Michael Jackson funded Adam Ant, right? Right, and so it's just a business, and you are what you negotiate. I know a lot of people, they've been positioning, and Taylor's especially tried to position like the industry is against her, but she was offered the opportunity to buy her catalog, and it was just too expensive for her. She and someone else bought it, but then she tried to make it seem like she was woe is me because she couldn't buy her. If she had the $300 million, she could have bought her own. She could have bought her own stuff.
Can't you
so when she goes through this, I have a little bit of challenge because she just got outbid. It's like Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney could have bought his own records. He thought it was too expensive. Michael bought it. That's it. When people say Michael disrespected Paul, no, he made a great business deal. So that's it. You always negotiate.
The last thing in entertainment, want to give a congratulations to Kobe Bryant's daughter, Natalia. She has kickstarted her modeling career. She is the cover girl on Teen Vogue, which is awesome. The 18-year-old sharing the cover, sharing the information. on Instagram, along with a video showing what went down at the cover shoot. And she spoke about being Kobe Bryant's daughter and how her family has handled life since his tragic death and that of her sister. So congratulations to her. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap this up, Kwyn, I do want you to give a shout out to your project again and let folks know how they can get your product.
Oh, thank you. So I am a poet, and this is my first spoken word album. It's called And She Worthy. It concludes my trilogy of my books. I had And She Wrote, And She Will, and now And She Worthy. I decided to make a poetry album because now in the Grammys there's going to be a poetry spoken word category, and so there's like this race where it's like 100 griots trying to get nominated by the Recording Academy. And so we had to all submit it by this deadline. And I was in Atlanta, like in the studio. I asked my mom to make a little interlude. I sing a little bit on there. There's a poem dedicated to my girlfriend. So it's very, very intimate. It's very, very cute, very mellow. Gets you some bubbly, gets you a little, whatever you drinking, and just relax to this Love Jones type of masterpiece. It's going to be out September 19th everywhere, Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music. And if you follow me on Instagram,
Which is?
At Kwynology, which is KWYNOLLOGY.
Thank you. Myra, how can people find you?
Look, come in the kitchen. I'm not going anywhere.
I want the candle.
Oh yeah, because I'm chilling. On Facebook, Myra Jayryn, or something like that, whatever it is, backwards. And then people always ask, am I on Instagram and the other one, Twitter? Yes, I am. At Gotta Be Myra J on Twitter, and not a mirage. It's a long story. I won't tell you why that's my name there, but NOTTA Mirage. Yeah.
And tell that to the Amazon delivery man when you all go out for drinks tonight.
That's how we met.
Yeah,
okay.
Let us know how it goes.
That's how we met. Okay.
And Stephen Hill from an unnamed tropical setting.
Cabo. Hey, do you have time for a very quick Anita Baker story?
We always have time for an Anita Baker
So
story.
I had the good fortune of being in the studio.
Oh no, we're out of time. I'm sorry.
Wow, that's the reparations right there.
Wow.
I love that.
Wow.
I feel like Jimmy Kimmel right there.
Oh,
So go ahead. So Anita Baker.
Oh, so I had the good fortune to be in the studio when she recorded an album that she's been talking about a while back that never came out, called Only Forever. It was some of her best music I ever heard. And so I have my favorite Anita Baker song. And when I tell you what the song is and what she said, you will never hear the song the same again. I was talking about her sounding like, you're similar to this other person. She said, do you understand that all I ever wanted to do was sound like person's name? That person name. All I ever do when I sing, I hear myself and I'm like, I want to sound like that person.
Wow.
And so the person is Michael McDonald. And now that you know that, you will never hear Giving You the Best That I Got the same again.
That's true.
You will never hear that song the same again, knowing that she channels Michael McDonald when she sings.
That's absolutely true. God, that's great. That is great.
That
is great.
I know.
We should close out on that.
Glad you didn't cut me off.
Can't tell you how many times Amanda said that to me too. It's now time for Yogi's Jewels and a little breathe in, breathe out therapy. Inhale, exhale. Believe in the power of positive thinking. So inhale good thoughts and exhale those negative thoughts. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.